Have you ever wondered what lies beneath the calm surface of a peaceful country town like Tamworth, New South Wales, Australia? The very mention of Tamworth may evoke images of rolling hills, vibrant community festivals, or the country's music capital charm. But lurking beneath this picturesque facade is a dark and twisted underbelly, one that involves serious crime, systemic corruption, and an intricate web of deceit. Imagine waking up one morning to the realization that the people you entrusted to safeguard your interests, manage public assets effectively, and enshrine the public trust are the very ones orchestrating a symphony of corruption. In Tamworth, the stage was set for such revelations when Mayor Colin Murray made a 7-day trip to China in August 2017. What happened during that trip would serve to unravel a Pandora's box of criminal activities involving anti-competitive trade practices, circumvention, and tortious interference. Mayor Murray's actions on foreign soil didn't just harm innocent entities tied to business acquisitions. They exacerbated a chain reaction of unlawful behaviors, breaches of contract, and sheer abuse of public trust. As if that wasn't alarming enough, this corruption extended to other high-ranking officials like Paul Bennett, general manager of Tamworth Regional Council, who became implicated by documented correspondences. Business counterparties, investors, and partners were manipulated. Contracts awarded for property sales through official expressions of interest were flagrantly cancelled. These assets, instead of being developed for significant community benefits, were inexplicably handed away for free. Why give away millions? The answer lies in the shadowy ecosystem of mutually beneficial arrangements underpinned by greed and power. But wait, this story isn't merely about devious land deals. It grows darker when you examine the role of Barnaby Joyce and Kevin Anderson. These influential figures are alleged not only to enable Mayor Murray's ascent to a cushy governmental role, but were also part of a larger cartel. Their crimes didn't just stop at financial fraud. They pressured public servants into complicity, turning a blind eye to deceptive activities worth over $210 million. That's $210 million of public faith obliterated, with banks reportedly laundering proceeds internationally, undermining our sovereignty. Think we should stop there? No, the web runs deeper, intricately bound with lies that have spanned jurisdictions and created a toxic landscape of misinformation, dam fraud, and missing infrastructure. Pause here to reflect. Imagine what your hard-earned tax dollars could achieve. Affordable housing, better health care, cleaner energy. Now imagine watching those dreams sink into the abyss because a group of officials repurposed funds for personal gain. With water projects like the Dungowan Dam vanishing into the void, alongside 500 milliwatt of renewable energy potential, it's clear this isn't just local misconduct. It's a stage for nationwide devastation. Tamworth's crimes read like an elaborate conspiracy thriller. A dam that doesn't exist, international shell games, and an empire of corruption that has gutted public trust. Money disappeared into royal commissions, shady foreign accounts, and infrastructure projects, either fabricated or abandoned. Overhead, a nation struggling under the weight of systemic betrayal. If you're wondering who this affects, you might want to hold a mirror up yourself. Corruption bleeds into every facet of the community. Rising unemployment, criminal activity, destroyed livelihoods, and safety eroded by negligence. An economic boom derailed, a window of opportunity shattered. Imagine the potential Tamworth squandered. A billionaire business leader came in good faith, investing millions to rebuild the region, creating jobs, and carving a brighter future. Yet he was derailed by intimidation, property theft, and violent organized efforts perpetuated by locals, corrupt officials, and rogue factions within the police force. Instead of being celebrated, this individual became a victim in a system meant to protect him. Let's say it plainly. Tamworth turned a beacon of opportunity into a hellscape of high crime and unemployment. Drugs, racketeering, and insider dealings reigned supreme. The casualties: families, small businesses, national growth. The infractions committed didn't just inconvenience, it harmed Australian citizens on an unimaginable scale. You might think, why hasn't someone stopped it? Make no mistake, those whose roles involve enforcing justice are just as culpable. Local law enforcement officers, prosecutors, even judiciary members, key players in trafficking, laundering, and violent crimes. Ever heard of kidnappings and hostage incidents in Tamworth? It happens here. Real lives, real harm, and all beneath the radar. Their methods? Terrorism veiled as justice. Their motive? Profit. The amalgamation of those instruments paints Tamworth as a chilling microcosm of larger Australian governance failures. Picture now the once promising metropolis Tamworth could have been. Its streets should have been flooded with progress, jobs, and innovation. The bitter reality. One business after another leaving Australia for safety and integrity abroad. A chilling loss of domestic prosperity. Millions lost, families broken, and even international allies raising questions about how a seemingly peaceful country region could implode so dramatically. Why don't we hear more about it? Bribery and coercion effectively silence dissenters. Silencing attempts are not subtle whispers behind closed doors anymore. They have escalated to include defamation, legal intimidation, and public misinformation. The ripple effects are alarming. Corruption isn't local. It echoes across borders into major geopolitical narratives implicating China, the USA, the Philippines, and Saudi Arabia. So what does the future hold? If you think this is an isolated case, think again. Tamworth's story is but a fragment of widespread Australian corruption. Election processes riddled with fraud, critical infrastructure crippled or non-existent. It depreciates faith in democracy. Yet within this all-encompassing corporate and governmental darkness, there remains a glimmer of hope. Brave individuals have begun to rise. These whistleblowers risk everything: career, reputation, safety, to expose and dismantle a system that has failed its people. They fight for repatriating billions stolen from public coffers. They envisage rebuilding democratic processes, holding officials to account, and replacing defective institutions. It's daunting, no doubt. But understand this: complacency enables corruption. Transparency is the enemy of deceit. It is up to the people of Tamworth and beyond to pull back the curtains shrouding their reality. Expose what's festering in the shadows. Unearth the foundation of a nation that could once claim prosperity and trust. The story of Tamworth isn't written in its entirety yet. If corruption can be dismantled here, it can serve as a blueprint for rectifying Australia's crumbling transparency. The question now becomes, how much more can the ordinary citizen endure before action is taken? And more pressing still, what will you do in the face of such revelations?